Well, now I have this conversation with aviation expert Guy Leitch, who joins us for more. Guy, good evening. Thank you so much for your time. I appreciate having you on the show. Describe to us what you observe to be the issue with ATNS.
Yeah, hi, Oliver, and good evening to you viewers. Well, the issue started a long time ago. The issue started actually 6.5, 7 years ago when instrument flight procedures come up for renewal. So they come up for renewal every 5 years. So there's plenty of warning. You simply set a calendar as to when you have to get the renewal into the Civil Aviation Authority for approval. ATNS's job is to survey all the procedures, to check that, for instance, no one's built put up a cell phone mast or an FM tower or anything else that might affect these procedures. The problem is that ATNS became, to be honest, it lost its way, and it lost a lot of its absolutely key staffers in terms of experience and skills. They were lured away because there's a global shortage of these people to places like Dubai and Australia. That left ATNS very badly understaffed, and they were simply not able to renew all these procedures on time. So much so that in June last year, they announced, or the Civil Aviation Authority cancelled 200, and that had an enormously disruptive effect on air connectivity in South Africa. Let me just, for your viewers, explain briefly how important this is, because it's not just a matter of a flight being delayed or being cancelled. A lot of these flights are from the peripheral airports, from the regional airports like Polokwane, Kruger, and Mpumalanga, Mthatha, and so on. These are connecting flights. A lot of these flights then are taking tourists to connect for America or the Far East. If these flights are delayed because of ATNS failures, the whole knock-on effect is enormous, because then the passengers miss their connecting flights onwards, and so it goes. And obviously also the airlines end up having to put up passengers in airports and in hotels and so on. Airlink was telling me just recently that it's cost them over 100 million rand so far, and that's just Airlink. Semair and Lift to a lesser extent, and even SAA have all been affected by these ATNS failures. But the real tragedy, and I really feel sympathy for Minister Creasy here, is that the problem hasn't got any better. The ATNS is missing their deadlines. And in fact, now they've pushed the deadline from early October to late November. And in fact, if you look at their release, they've got a deadline 25th of December. That's Christmas Day. I can't see that deadline actually being effective either. So the situation is not getting better.
Yeah. What will it take to turn it around? It seems as though that if it's a skill shortage as a result of competitive markets luring away those qualified and those with the skill set, that we would need to become competitive in the skills market. I mean, Dubai, Saudi Arabia, Australia offering competitive salaries means that we would need to step it up. How do we begin to do so, Guy?
Well, the cost to the economy and the cost to the airlines themselves makes it very worthwhile as a simple investment to invest in getting the people back. A lot of the people who've left would love to come back. They miss, standing around on a braai with their mates and drinking beer. But you've got to be able to create leadership in an organization that makes it globally competitive salaries. As the rand has weakened, so the long-term prospects of South Africa have tended to wane as confidence has waned. So those are the issues that you've got to be able to pay a compromise for, an additional premium for. They have really set out to recruit a lot of people back, and they had at last count, personnel back, which is obviously progress, but it's not progress fast enough. And now we're seeing that as the summer season arrives with thunderstorms and, as I say, inclement weather, so the procedures are just not working as required.
Yeah, Guy Leitch, we're going to have to leave it there. Thank you so much for your time this evening. Really do appreciate it. Guy Leitch is an aviation expert talking to us there on the troubles at the airport traffic and navigation services. Apologies there for that unstable connection that cut in and out intermittently, but I do think we were able to get the gist of what Guy Leitch had been saying to us.